Good morning, everyone. This is Sean Ruggiero. Thanks for joining us for Family First Life's AMS Live here on Facebook. Today we're going to talk about Social Security income planning. This has been a big push for Family First Life for the advanced market sales for the last 6 months or so, as you know. So we're going to go in depth here. This will be a very valuable episode for you, something that you can reference also later on as you learn to master Social Security planning, but also just gain a foothold on basic Social Security planning that you can use in the field. Why? Why do we stress Social Security planning so much here at Family First Life? The reason why is that we don't tend to work with the multi-millionaires in retirement. Now, I'm not being funny, I'm not being facetious. I'm saying that when you have someone who has $10 million of investable assets in retirement, the amount of Social Security that they have, what that contributes to their retirement is pretty small, fairly insignificant. They have larger worries with capital gains tax, with setting up trusts and being efficient in retirement for pass on assets and maximizing income. When we deal with the clients who are returning mail-in leads, whether it's mortgage protection or final expense, when we deal with people who are on Facebook that are asking for help with their burial insurance, things of that nature, these people, Social Security makes up a much larger amount of their retirement. In fact, we're going to go in here in a second and look at how much that is and how important that is. So if you can master or understand the basics of Social Security, then you should be the one that helps them out with their retirement income planning. And that goes not only for people who are returning mailers to us, but it goes for your sphere of influence. A lot of us are helping the middle Americans who 50% of their income in retirement is going to come from Social Security. So if you can help them, how much more can you branch out and help people with annuities, IULs, even things like MedSup, because you now are the expert, meaning that you know more than they do, you know some of the basics, and you know what questions to ask. And that's what's important. So I talk about mastery. Mastery is something that we go for. Like Vince Lombardi says, you cannot achieve perfection, but reach for perfection and you'll achieve excellence. That's what we want to do, is we want to achieve excellence in our planning, and we're going to bolt that on around the Social Security plan. So let's go ahead and get started here. As I told you earlier, according to the Social Security Administration, that's ssa.gov, 2 in 3 retirees, so 66%, half of their income in retirement is going to come from Social Security. That is a significant amount. For 1 in 3 retirees, 90% comes from Social Security. And then for 1 in 5 retirees, and sometimes these are people that we really can't help too much because they have no disposable income, but it shows you how important Social Security is. For 1 in 5 retirees, 100% of their retirement income comes from Social Security. So what is your most valuable asset in retirement? Well, if you have an IRA, this is according to average statistics of the people that we help, the average IRA, individual retirement account for our retirees that we help at Family First Life, and this would be all of Middle America, $180,000. Sound about right? You're working with someone, they say, hey, I have this 401k, I have this IRA that I built up, or this 403b, the average, $180,000. Average home value, and we have hundreds of thousands of data points to find this. The average home value of people who are returning our leads over the last 6 years, $200,000. So they got a $200,000 home that maybe they pay off or they could do a reverse mortgage on. They've got a $80,000 individual retirement account. But you know what their average Social Security spending will be from age 62 or beyond up to age 70 until they die? $620,000. Pretty basic math. What's their largest asset in retirement? It's Social Security. So again, if you're an expert on Social Security, you're the one that should help them decide how to spend this money. There are 2 primary benefits for Social Security. There is your workers' benefit, the one that we're most familiar with, the one we think of when we think of spending our Social Security. The workers' benefit, you must have a minimum of 10 years working. It is indexed over your best 35 years of contributions, and you can claim as early as age 62, full retirement age. That's the age that many benefits are calculated, and you won't be penalized anymore if you are still working or adding in earnings. Full retirement age is either 66 or 67. As we get a little older, people born past 1950, they're all going to be age 67. And the maximum that you can defer it is age 70. The spousal benefit, a little lesser known, but the spousal benefit, you must have been married for 10 years in order to receive a spousal benefit from that person. If you are divorced, you cannot remarry, and the person who you were claiming on must have reached their full retirement age, 66 or 67. Now, a common misconception. Why are so many people claiming Social Security at age 62? Well, it's because of a common misconception. That misconception being that Social Security is going to disappear. That's simply not true. It is literally, and if we go back to those pie graphs, it is literally the fabric that makes up the retirement income for so many Americans. You know, how many people over 65? How many? It's like 100 million people. Do you think they're going to take away the benefits for a growing capacity, 100 million and growing? Absolutely not. Will things have to change? Sure. If we look at some of the statistics, by 2033, the current reserves for Social Security will be depleted. Gone. Pretty scary to think of, right? Well, think about it this way. The revenues that would allow Social Security to pay only up to 75%. So the current revenues that are coming in from people paying into Social Security by 2033 would allow them only to pay 75% of Social Security. But did you know that 0.9% of the gross domestic product is needed to fund Social Security 75 years beyond 2033? So if you could find a way to carve out 0.9% of the GDP, that's still a big number, but we work in big numbers when we work with the United States economy, with the budget. In fact, it would be one-fifth of the defense budget. Now, I'm not saying I'm pro-defense, anti-defense. I'm certainly neither of the two, polarizing. In my opinion, it doesn't really matter. But what's more important, I think the F-22 Raptor is an awesome jet. I think protecting our country, I think all those things are very, very important. But I do think that Social Security is also important. Very important. In fact, probably top priority. So just looking at that as a perspective, not a political statement, if we found 1/5 of the defense budget, we could fund Social Security for 75 years past 2033. They could also do other plausible things. In fact, when this was first done a couple years ago, this first slide, they could raise the amount that you're paying into Social Security. So right now, I think it's currently $125,000 of maximum W-2 wages. They can raise that to $130,000, to $140,000, to $150,000. They also can postpone early filing, right? Maybe it's no longer 62, it's 63. Or more likely, they can postpone full retirement age, which is currently 67, could go to 68, 69, whatever it might be. And that's a more likely scenario. A little bit of all this, but I promise you Social Security is going nowhere. That would essentially lead to financial ruin for this country. The economy would go in the tank and we would not be able to function. So if you ever have a client who says, well, I'm taking my Social Security because it's not going anywhere, remind them that they're already in the payday of Social Security. It's not going anywhere. Excuse me, I said that wrong. The client says Social Security is going to go away. It's not going away. It's not going anywhere. In fact, most people we're going to be affected over the next 10 years, their Social Security is already set. They have nothing to worry about, okay? So when are retirees claiming? This is a pretty alarming statistic, especially once you understand the math behind it. At age 62, the earliest you can, and this is an example benefit of $1,700, okay? 65% of Americans are claiming at age 62. They are not waiting. They're saying 62, give me that $1,700. But what a mistake, especially with how long people are living and the fact that the spousal benefit passes on. The higher the two passes on and adjusts for cost of living. If they wait to age 66, that benefit would have gone up to $2,400, and that represents 30% of people. So only 30% of people, less than 1/3, wait till their full retirement age. And then how many people, even knowing that we have so many people living into their late 80s, into their 90s, even 100 years old, only 5% wait to age 70. See, you're going to get approximately 8% compounding interest gains every year that you wait. You see this huge difference from $1,700 to $3,100. Which would you rather collect? And I understand it's 8 years away, but that is a massive difference. Yet only 5% of people wait to age 70 to collect their Social Security benefit. So why is that bigger number so important? Especially if we're going to pass on to our spouse. My spouse. I use that, you hear me slipping ahead there, thinking about what I'm going to speak about. I think about my situation. All right, one of the things that I've done and taken very seriously is I've thought about my retirement. When I'm going to retire, what funds I'm going to use for retirement, and how much I'm going to have for retirement. I can already calculate that. I'm in my early 40s, and I can already tell you how much I could retire with right now, and how much I could retire with projecting my current path in the future. And I think more of us need to do that. I take that very seriously. See, when I was exposed, my father left my mother, and well, the details don't matter, but you know, I had to help her with her finances. I had to help her calculate her Social Security, what it would be, how to claim her spousal benefit, and then flip to her benefit at age 70. My mother is currently 75 years old. How to spend the 401k, how to leverage a house, actually to take on a mortgage rather than cashing out this large amount of the 401k, which was what she was given in the retirement settlement. Okay, so she got a 401k. She could have cashed the whole thing out and purchased a house, but that would have had these massive tax implications. And we also wanted to claim the spousal benefit. See, I learned a lot of these things, and I thought, I don't want to be in that same position. I don't want my wife to be in that same position. I don't want my kids to be in that position. So I learned early, something I encourage you to do. And it starts by some of these basic steps that we have here in these slides that you can practice for yourself, and then you can practice for your clients. You do this 2 or 3 times, you're literally going to feel comfortable recommending Social Security strategies to consumers. And when you do that, then you are the expert, the authority who's going to tell them what to do with the IRA, with their home, et cetera, et cetera. So why does it matter to wait till age 77 or age 66 or whatever it is? And keep in mind this, Social Security adjusts every month that you wait. It doesn't have to be an anniversary, it's every month. So if you're 62 and you want to claim, say, whoa, hold up. Do you plan on working a little bit more? Can you work a little bit more? What other assets do you have? Because Social Security is an asset that adjusts upwards every year for inflation. And when we look at the taxation footprint, only half of it counts towards your provisional tax, something you can learn a little bit later. But COLA, cost of living adjustment. See, inflation doubles your price every 26 years based on averages. Okay, so your purchasing power, let's look at it this way, gets cut in half every 26 years. Well, your retirement's probably going to be 26 years. So how important is it to have an asset that will adjust for inflation? You know, what they call Consumer Pricing Index for the workers' wages. That's my W. CPIW. Since 1979, COLA has adjusted the Social Security benefit upwards every year. It's been tied to the CPIW. So the larger the benefit, the larger your adjustment. Let's take a look at this right here. So if we claimed at 66, and hey, that's a lot better than 62. If I showed you age 62, even if I added in the extra 8 years of income, it would quickly be surpassed, usually in about 9 years, by keeping your benefit to age 70. But in this case, we have someone claiming at 66, someone claiming at age 70. So they have $2,400 benefit versus a $3,100 benefit. That's a $700 difference. So we have a difference of $700. Now, if they both adjust upwards with CPI, then they would stay $700 different. It really wouldn't make much difference, right? Wrong. See, the larger number adjusts higher, even with the same amount. So if we take an average COLA adjustment of 2.1%, this $2,400 goes to $2,450, but this $3,100 goes to $3,165. Which is more, 65 or 40? Doesn't seem like a lot, but that's the starting seed of a larger number getting larger and increasing the gap between the two. So you can see that 700 difference goes to 715, 730, so on and so forth, till a few years later, it's already at $862 difference. See, by the time this person dies and passes, they'll have passed on a benefit that could be 50% higher than if they just chose to take it at 66. And again, using my personal situation, my goal is to live to 81. You ask where I picked that number, it's a longer conversation. If I can live to 81, and I'm larger people tend to not live quite as long, but I'm fairly healthy. If I live to 81, my wife is 4 years younger than me, and her family tends to live well into their 90s. She actually had a great-grandmother that lived to 100. So do I want to pass on a benefit that's $4,000 or $5,000 a month, or benefits that's $3,000 a month, knowing that it's going to adjust upward? I want to pass on the larger benefit, and that is the smart way to do retirement income planning with your Social Security. Now, where are my statements? This is a common question. Since 2011, Social Security has stopped mailing copies every year. You get one copy at age 25, don't ask me why, and you get a copy every year once you hit age 60. Okay, but in the meantime, you have to go to ssa.gov/my statements. All right, these statements are necessary for finding out what your full retirement age is, what your early retirement age is, and what your amount would be if you delayed to age 70. Let's take a look at this actual statement. This is a couple years old, back when the max earnings were $117,000. That's one tip. If you're an agent out there making a couple $100,000, make $300,000, if you're a VP, if you're a board member, you should pay at least the minimum Social Security contribution of W-2. I think now it's $125,000. So if you're out there and you're not paying yourself W-2, you should pay yourself at least the minimum. So you're paying into your Social Security. But right here, it's going to show my Social Security retirement age of 67. I would make $27.21 a month. Now that's not adjusted with COLA. That number will be much higher because I won't be 67 for almost two and a half more decades. All right? Each year that's going to go up. So that number will be much higher, but it gives me a projected number. If I wait to age 70, that's my number. But if I take it early, that's my number. Again, how many of you can look at your current IULs, Social Security, and 401ks or Roth IRAs or whatever you've set up? How many of you can look at that at age 40-something and say, adding my Social Security, I know exactly how much I'll make in retirement? I can. I don't say it because I'm bragging. I'm not saying it's because it's a huge, large number. The number is insignificant. I'm saying because I've thought about it. And until you actually get serious about retirement, until you actually understand Social Security and understand that you are on your own. I think, maybe. For me, I know I'm on my own. When my mom dies, I will get absolutely nothing, probably a bunch of debt, okay? For you, if your parents die and you inherit this windfall of money, awesome, I'm happy for you. But for most of us, we have to figure it out. Realize that whether you're 25, 35, 45, 55, you're responsible for you. That's the epiphany I had when I was 13 years old. That's why I take this so seriously, and that's why I want you to take it seriously. And if you take it seriously for yourself, think about how effective you can be in conveying this message and creating a plan for your clients. So that's the online statement, and this is the paper statement. Again, once you're 60, they'll send you one of these a year. But you can see this is a statement I pulled from a client, took out their name, but it shows you the same thing. Retirement at FRA, retirement age 70, and retirement if they took it right now. This was pulled when the client was 65 years old. And remember, it adjusts every month, not every year. So every month you wait to claim Social Security, the better position you're putting yourself in. How can we engage clients with this? Right? How often are we sitting down with someone who is in their 50s, not 62, whatever it might be? Think of that wide breadth. I think anyone from 45, honestly speaking, someone from 45 up to 62, you should be talking Social Security. You should be doing some Social Security planning. So how about these? And you can get a copy of this. You can email annuity@familyfirstlife.com. How about these as engagement lines? So, Bridget, did you know that roughly 40% of Americans fail to correctly plan for their Social Security income benefits? They can leave tens of thousands of dollars on the table unpaid that they would have normally left to a spouse, or leaving that spouse in poverty. Bridget, have you calculated your provisional income for Social Security taxation purposes? Right? I see that you're getting close to Social Security claiming age. Have you done your COLA forecasting? Cost of living adjustment forecasting. You say, what is that? All it is looking at what the amount would be at age 70 versus 66. Yeah, this is still sales, right? We want to engage people. These are accurate things. Does this mean that there's some special calculation? No. It's simply looking at their benefits and saying, here's how much you would get if you waited. Here's how much you would get if you took now. And if we adjust this forward at, say, 2%, 3%, whatever you might estimate for COLA, you'll get an idea of that forecasting. Another one, I see that you're getting close to Social Security claiming age. Have you run an analysis on your workers versus spousal benefits? See, if you're getting close to 66 or 67, then you can claim, and your spouse, rather than claiming hers or his, can claim half of yours. That's a spousal benefit, and then let theirs grow. See, there's options that you have. Those are in some engagement lines, things that you need to do. Want to know more? I can't stress this enough. I strongly recommend that you obtain your National Social Security Advisor designation, your NSSA. It's a certification that I have. The webinar dates are listed at the front. Without logging in, the webinar dates and the ability to register are at fflams.com. That's fflams.com. The next dates in July, I believe, are the 13th and 14th. The way they do is they break it up. It's 4 hours in the morning on one day and 4 hours in the morning on the next day. So you still have your day to run your business, you still can tend to things, you can still go get paid, but 4 hours, then you schedule your exam that you do as a proctored exam online. It's really cool. It's done through your webcam. You don't even have to go anywhere. The exam took me about 45 minutes to complete, okay? You need a 70 to pass. Not a bad idea. Now you have the resources. And also, one of the things that you hear in my interview with Jim Blair, the founder of the NSSA, is that you now have them as a resource. You can email them any questions that you want, and they'll answer it. Jim Blair has 35 years of experience working for the Social Security Administration. You think he knows? You think you want that person in your corner helping you do Social Security planning? So get your NSSA cert. It's normally $700. With the FFL discount, it's $395. $395. That's like a quarter of one payday for a final expense policy. Reinvest, invest in yourself, become confident in your Social Security advice, because remember, that's the largest asset that most of your clients, many of your friends and family are going to have in retirement, so help them out. Also, you can log into the fflams.com and print your custom Social Security trifolds. Bridget's going to be covering that here today. And start with your own Social Security benefits. Log into ssa.gov/mybenefits and create yours. Look at yours. See the calculators. There's calculators that you can forecast with CPI what your income will be in the future. There's calculators that you can see your spousal benefit. There's all sorts of tools there. Go and use them, and you're going to feel very confident and very excited to go help people. So Bridget's next with What's News. Again, pay attention today. This is a very important focus on Social Security and how we can become Social Security advisors and help people in retirement. So thank you, everyone. Appreciate you being in.
Good morning, everyone. Today is July 4th. Welcome to our Facebook AMS live call. I'm going to start off with our weekly issue paid numbers for IULs and annuities. So for week 26 of IULs, we have Alvester C with two of them here, one for 303 and one for 268. Then we have Dean P with 791. Frank D with three of them here, 1,266, 1,493, and 1,597. We have Gregory B with 1,417, Jerry B with 810, Joshua M with 7,640, Kashmira H with 2,151, Larry R with 216, Lisa M with 660, Marquetta S with 983, VP with 1,036, and Vin L with two here for 3,605 and 490. Brings our weekly issue paid total for IULs to almost 25,000. For annuities, this is annuities issue paid June 20th to June 26th. At the top of our leaderboard here, we have Miles J with 800,000, Eileen D with 501,462, Linda L. with $231,748, Matt to W. with $225,000, Danielle B. with $141,898, Charles H. with $126,626, Rynell P. with $121,940, Martin M. with $115,019, Quinn H. with $109,714, James F. with $92,621, Silvana P. with $90,550, Toria M. with $63,646, David P. with $59,292, Danielle B. with $59,154, Amy M. with $54,263, Paul M. with $42,919, Jeffrey E. with $38,364, Linda L. with $30,702, Len D. with $25,000, Rynell P. again with $22,903, Phil R. with $15,000, Richard D. with $14,788, and Timothy K. with $9,091, bringing our total to almost $3 million for a week. Great job, guys. We had a great June. Today is our first call of July. So with that, I have our promotions for the month. We had 19 agents write their first annuity here in June. Great job, everybody. Gregory K., Daryl B., Georges D., Jacob S., Thomas D., Bianca T., John C., Daniel W., Joseph B., Ryan G., Michelle E., Marcus C., Daniel M., Edward W., Lourdes V., Rynell P., Richard D., Jamin A., and Martin M. Great job, everyone, writing your first annuity for the month of June. We had 5 agents pass the $500,000 level, so great job. These were all promoted to the blue level. We have Stephen Y., Bradley R., Reggie A., Lisa P., and Eileen D. We had 1 agent pass the $1 million mark. Michael B., congratulations, you were promoted to the silver level. And then we also had 1 agent pass the $2 million mark and get promoted to the gold level. So James F., great job. Awesome job for the month of June, everyone. Next up, I just want to review again Sean's travel dates for the summer. I think I was missing one the last couple weeks, so we added that in here. Just to recap here, we have July 8th in San Antonio, Texas, July 22nd in Atlanta, Georgia, July 25th in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, August 1st in Phoenix, Arizona, August 5th in Denver, Colorado, and August 26th in Austin, Texas. Again, he will be presenting the new consumer in-home slides to sell more annuities. So make sure you're able to get to one of those meetings to see that presentation. Next up for you guys, I have just a recap here on our customizable Social Security brochure. Because you guys now have access to take that course at a discounted rate, I hope you're all taking advantage of that. Our next one, by the way, if you don't already know, is July 17th and 18th. It's 2 4-hour sessions, so extremely doable first thing in the morning. With that, once you're certified, we have created the customizable Social Security brochure. And so when you order this on the AMS live site under the marketing tab, it's going to actually download your information here. It'll have a picture of you, your name, email, address, whatever you want on there as far as being printed customizable for you. So it inputs all your information, and then it goes to our print shop, and you actually get these in your hand. It's a breakdown of how Social Security works. There's also, this is just the outside, but there's also an inside with a lot of great information. You can download this on the marketing tab as well, so that you can read through it and see if it's something you're interested in. But this then gives you brochures with your name and everything printed on it, so that you can take it in and you can leave it with clients, and you're really doing them a service, because as we all know, we don't make money advising on Social Security, but it just gives us the credibility and opportunity to really help with their retirement plan, which is what we try to do here with our annuities. Not just sell a product, but we're helping them create a plan. So check this out. Let me know if you have questions. They're ready for order right away. So you do want to make sure you probably have your NSSA certification once you order these, but otherwise feel free to use those as a resource to you guys. One last thing I just wanted to point out here, I introduced Lauren last week or a couple weeks ago, and I just want to make sure she is now busting through our book of business and sending lots of emails. And so if you have an email pending with Athene, chances are you have received an email from her. However, because it's a new domain, that fflams.com, I'm finding that a lot of those emails are going to junk. So if you could just do me a favor, make sure you're checking your email inboxes and either adding her to your contacts, or when it's in your junk, just report it as not junk. But like I said, if you have an annuity pending, you should have received an email from her. So please check for that. Get her email used to everything so that it doesn't go to junk anymore and you guys aren't missing any important updates or help from her. That is it. So Lauren at fflams.com is the email you want to look for. That's all I have for you guys today. Have a safe and happy 4th. Great weekend. We'll see you next time.
All right. Hey, morning, everyone. Sean Ruggiero here, AMS for Family First Life Advanced Market Sales, and I like Advanced Market Solutions. This is our Social Security Focus Week. We're talking about Social Security for retirement. I am very pleased to announce that I'm interviewing today via Skype Mr. Jim Blair. Jim, you are the co-founder and co-owner of the company that provides the only, and make sure I'm saying this right, Jim, but it's the only recognized Social Security advisor designation out there in the country. Is that accurate?
Right. We've been accredited through a company called ICE, Institute for Credentialing Excellence, and we are what they call a certificate program. So it's the National Social Security Advisor Certificate Program. And to our knowledge, we're the only ones that have gone through that process and have been certified.
Yeah, and my knowledge also. I've done some research on it, took the course myself. Our top annuity producer for our company, Jim, he's worked with us since we founded the company in 2013. He has, I think he's up to like $20 million of lifetime annuity production. He took your course, I think 4 years ago, and really brought to my attention how important it is that the middle Americans, now we call them middle Americans, I think they're whatever the word is below middle, we're getting polarizing effects here in the kind of socioeconomic divide with the United States. And this isn't a political conversation. I'm just saying that if we look at the statistics, how much the people who we serve, final expense, mortgage protection, people that are filling out a mailer that's sent out to them, right? They need a little guidance in life. They don't have their own CPA or financial advisor necessarily. When we look at the average, and we get thousands of data points coming in through a corporate office here. The average client that we meet with has $180,000 in their IRA, okay? $180,000. Their average home value, around $200,000. And I looked up the statistic. You know what well, of course you do. You've been doing this for 35 years. But the average couple will consume over $600,000 of Social Security in their lifetime. So what is their biggest asset? It's Social Security. Yet we neglect as advisors, especially when this is our niche, right? If we are working with all $30 million investable asset people, Jim, Social Security is a drop in the bucket. They're not too concerned about it. But when it makes up the bulk of your retirement, when it's the one that adjusts with CPI, that pays your Medicare Part B, it's critical. And so we formed a partnership with the NSSA, and I want to thank you so much and thank Mark. You all have been fantastic. I know we're coming up on our 3rd month of offering these classes. We're going to talk about that a little bit more here and in the AMS Live for this week. But Jim, tell us a little bit, co-owner, co-founder of the NSSA certification, but you've been doing this. You worked with Social Security for 35 years. Do I have that correct?
That is correct. Retired. It seems like yesterday, but it was in 2010. So, time does go fast. Yeah. But I worked there 35 years, did a number of jobs, including I was a claims representative, and I took claims for retirement survivors, disability and health insurance, and worked with people and saw the benefits that they were going to receive. Retired, spent the last 9 years in my position there as a district manager of the Piqua, Ohio office. Nobody ever knows where Piqua is, but it's about 35 miles north of Dayton. Nice little rural community. Social Security is everywhere. Likewise, Social Security affects everybody. Probably 99% of the population is going to look at Social Security at some point. And you're right, it's a huge part of their income in retirement. And they need to look at that and decide which way it is they want to go, because when they take their benefit affects how much they're going to receive over their lifetime.
Yeah. Well, so Jim, I want to pose this question in this period of time, and this is a little bit of a taste test of what the agents are going to get. And this is not a solicitation to agents. This is, we want to help them, okay? And because the agent wants to help the client. So give us, and this is what I posed to you when we set up this interview. Can you give us 3 tips for retirement planning as it pertains to Social Security? And like I said, this is an idea of why it's so valuable to understand Social Security when we're working with these clientele. So I'm going to let you rip. If you could, and I'm going to be writing these down, taking some notes. Give us some tips. If you got 3, great. If you have 4, great. But if you have 2, great. Just give us some important tips that you can cover off that you've seen, not only taking claims, being district manager, but also in teaching this class for so many years that would be helpful for our agents that are listening in this call.
Sure, and a couple of things that that I want to talk about are real important. Well, I guess they're all real important, but the first one is it's a guaranteed benefit. Same people that guarantee your money that's sitting in your bank account, the federal government. Hope that makes people feel a little better. Not sure in this day and age, but it is guaranteed by the federal government, and it is a lifetime benefit. So as long as someone is alive, they will pay them. If you live to 80, they'll pay you to 80. If you live to 90 or 100, they'll pay you to 100. So benefits are paid. I saw just on TV the other day, a veteran was celebrating his birthday. He was 102. He's still receiving his Social Security benefit.
That's
so
awesome.
It's guaranteed and it's lifetime, but it's also, and this may be more important, it's a joint lifetime benefit, because if you're receiving a benefit or someone passes away and their spouse steps into their shoes, they're going to receive that benefit as well, and they'll receive that for the rest of their life. That benefit is based on what that person does when they originally apply. So you have to keep that in mind. The other thing is, it's going to increase because of cost of living increases. Now, not too many retirement plans out there have cost of living built into them. Right. Social Security does. Granted, a lot of it gets eaten up by Medicare premium increases, but for the most part, it is guaranteed. And each year they look to see if there's been any inflation, people will receive an increase in their Social Security benefit. So when they're looking at what they're receiving today, I think you can pretty much feel that the value of those dollars that you're looking at in your Social Security today, that value is going to stay pretty steady throughout their lifetime. So it is important that they understand it's guaranteed, it's lifetime, and it is inflation protected. Now, some other things that they need to keep in mind as well is you want to make a plan. You're going to receive this the rest of your life. You know, according to the Social Security Administration, half of the people in their 60s are going to live to their upper 80s, early 90s. A quarter of those folks are going to live to 95 or older. The issue I have with it is they don't tell us which one of us those are. So we kind of got to figure that out on our own. But, you know, your clients are going to look at their health, their family history, and those types of things. And it's not just one individual. If you're working with couples, it's the health and family history of both. So they want to keep in mind that they need to make a plan as they decide, okay, I'm 62, I should file for my Social Security. Sometimes 62 is a good age for people to apply, but I would say overall it's not. Waiting till full retirement age is going to be much better. And if people have the ability to do so, delaying to age 70 and earning delayed retirement credits, that not only increases their benefit, but it increases the survivor benefit. I think one of the things that I saw when I was taking claims, you would have a couple that had plenty of income. One of them would pass away, and you would tell the survivor what the widow's or widower's benefit is going to be. And they'd say, that's not enough money. That won't be enough coming in, because while they do pick up the higher earner's benefit, they lose the lower earner's benefit. And if the higher earner takes Social Security at 62 and takes a 25, or depending on their full retirement age, maybe even a 30% cut, the surviving spouse sees that same cut. And if they wait until 70 and earn those delayed retirement credits, the surviving spouse gets the advantage of those delayed retirement credits. And the difference between your income from Social Security at 62 versus 70, it's about a 75% increase in monthly income. Now, that's the good news. Of course, the bad news is if you wait till 70, you have to wait 8 years to get it. But, most people are working at least till full retirement age.
Yeah.
I think another way of looking at it would be, Social Security is an individual benefit. My benefit is mine. My spouse's benefit is hers. We can each file whenever we want. But what people need to do is not look at it as an individual benefit. Look at it as a household benefit. So not how do we maximize benefits for a husband or a wife, but how do we maximize benefits for a husband and a wife? And we're going to look at each one of them. When should each one start their Social Security benefit? Those are very important things for people to consider. Because if you just go down and apply for benefits, Social Security is more than happy to take your application and start paying you. And who wants everybody to file at 62? This probably won't surprise you. The Social Security Administration. Right. And the reason is because people are living longer, and over their lifetime, they'll pay them less money. Now, how do I know that? Besides the fact I work there, it is actually written in their regulations. Really? They had a change on how they viewed self-employed people who were under their full retirement age. They used to make it very difficult for them to take benefits at age 62. Now they've made it much, much easier. And the reason stated, they'll pay them less money over their lifetime. So we know that the longer you can wait, then the more money you're going to receive over your lifetime, at least, population on average.
Right. And that's valuable information. A couple things I wrote down. One of the things I learned from the class is, it does adjust upward based on the workers, Consumer Price Index, workers' wages, CPIW, correct? And
correct.
That average has been something like, and this CPI might be overall, but in the wealth management certified professional, they were talking about CPI, and it's been fairly steady and fairly low, about 2.8%. So a lot of that's going to get eaten up by the Part B premium. However, one of the things I saw going through your course was it was somewhere in the 80s, I think early 80s. Wasn't there a year where it went up something like 11 or 14% or double-digit inflation?
14.3%.
14.3. And hey, if that happens, that can really screw you over in retirement.
Oh, absolutely. And why did it go up 14.3%? Because inflation was just going nuts.
Yeah.
If you wanted to buy a house, you were paying 18 to 20% interest on your home loan. Yeah. And so that increase was just a sign of the times.
Yeah.
Lately, it hasn't been so bad. And probably we're looking at, I'm basing it on the first quarter of the CPI for this year. If that holds, we're looking at about 1.5%. So the good news, I guess, there is that there's not much inflation out there, but it is based on what the inflation rate is. And we have seen higher numbers. We've seen 5%, with that 14.3. Since 2010, we've had a couple years, or actually 3 years with zero, and a few years probably averaging, like you said, about 1.5%. Yeah.
And I think, as a financial advisor doing this for 20 years, we see a lot of unique situations or unique things in the environment for this last 10 or 20 years that we've never seen before, especially these last 10 years that have created such a low inflation environment. But the pendulum will swing, and I don't think we're going to have, with some of the monetary policy and the monetary, I don't think we're going to have 14%. Again, at least not anytime soon. But they do have to be concerned with deflation. So as we look at this swing, how many years in the future? Because retirees, if you're retiring the next 5 years or so, let's say your FRA is in 5 years, and you're looking at it, you say that seems so far away. Well, how many of those years are we going to see a 5% inflation, 6%? You might see that. And when you do, how valuable would that benefit be if it got deferred at least to your FRA or passed on to your spouse and you waited to age 70? And when I took the NSSA course, it was so simple to understand and then explain that to clients. And I think that's what's of value, because they look at it, and this is one question I'm going to ask you real quick to add to the three that you went over. they look at it and it's almost this idea of pure ignorance that, well, Social Security is going to go away. I need to get my money while I'm going to get it. And that's complete fallacy. Can you explain that a little bit, why that shouldn't be in people's minds and how advisors can help people?
Yeah, very worst case scenario. If Congress does nothing, Social Security would see, and this isn't good, it would see about a 20% reduction in people's benefits. But they're still going to have money coming in. People are still paying the FICA tax on their wages and self-employment. And so they still have income coming in. It doesn't take a huge change to actually take care of the deficit. They feel that if they raise the full retirement age to 70 and increase, and people probably don't want to hear this, increase what you pay the FICA tax on to hit about 90% of wages, that will almost completely wipe out any deficit that we're looking at. We've been through this before. We were in this situation in the late 70s, right around when we had that giant cost of living increase. Congress and the president were able to get together. They made changes. Those changes affected everybody on this, on your call today. That's where they increased the full retirement age. It used to be 65. It's on its way up to 67. Odds are they're going to raise it to 70. And they're going to increase what you pay the Social Security tax on. It will be there. Congress cannot let the Social Security program flounder. Too many people depend on it. These probably aren't any of your customers, but about 40% of the folks, that's their only source of income. Wasn't supposed to be, but it is. And how do we take care of those people? We take care of them by making sure that their benefits are protected. And yeah, I would say don't take benefits at 62 because they're going away and you want to get something before they run out of money. That's just not going to happen that way.
Right, exactly. Well, I want to conclude here, Jim. Thank you for your time. But you know, we've had about 45 Family First Life agents sign up and take the NSSA certification course. We do it once a month. You all have set aside once a month, 2 days. It's in the morning, 4 hours day one, the next day, 4 hours. We go from 7 to 11 Pacific time. Really easy to understand and digest. You all have been flexible in that. It's all done through through a webinar. I want agents to understand who are watching this. So you sit on a webinar Monday morning, let's say. Then you do it Tuesday morning. It's like watching 2 movies back to back. Then you take a proctored test. And I was actually impressed. This ProctorU test, you know, you pay $25. They do it all through your webcam, check your surroundings. Real easy to use. And there you go. You get a 70%, you pass. Now you have that NSSA certification. Why is that valuable? And I talk about this on this week's AMS Live a few times, but it's valuable because we're dealing with clients who their biggest asset in retirement is their Social Security. So if you're an expert on that asset, then working with you on that planning makes a ton of sense. And I tell you what, confidence comes from education. So if you understand the challenges of Social Security, if you understand how to answer their questions, then you have confidence and they will have confidence in you in the home. And you can sleep at night knowing that you are helping people. And that means a lot to our agents. No, it does.
It does. And you don't have to be an expert. You're going to learn a lot and you're going to be able to answer a lot of questions. And the questions you can answer by being an NSSA advisor, you have access to me or to my business partner, Mark.
That's
we'll
awesome.
Answer those questions for you. And keep in mind that if you deal with money, people think you know everything about every aspect of money, and they're going to ask you about Social Security. Yeah. Can you answer that question, or do you just look like a deer in the headlights and not answer it? And if you can answer their questions, they're going to be impressed, and it's going to help you out with the relationship with your client. So it's important because it affects 99% of the population.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Well, Jim, thank you so much. And pass on my thanks to Mark. You two have been great. Like I said, when I took the course, I was just thrilled how well you all do and keep a sense of humor, but keep everybody on track and keep us learning and going. For agents that have not done this yet, go to fflams.com. That's fflams.com. And the link is right there. We update it every month with what the new registration is. And I think the July one is right around the corner. 12th and 13th or 17th, 18th, if I'm not mistaken. Go to fflams.com and sign up. It's normally $700. It's only $395 with a special if we use the code FFL. And again, thank you so much for providing that. It shows your passion, your drive, your dedication, your commitment to help grow the NSSA and help us grow FFL and the NSSA mutually together. So thank you.
That's an exciting time, and I really encourage people to take the course, because I think you learn a lot. Of course, that's what I know, but I think it's very valuable for everybody.
Yeah, I vouch for that. So Jim, thank you so much. We'll be talking to you here in the near future. You have a great day. Thank you.
Thanks, Sean. You too.
Hey everyone, I'm Drew Jordan, and the purpose of this video is to go over this exciting packet that I got in the mail today. If you've ever gotten one of these, you know it's a good day. This is an issue paid annuity from Athene. This one in particular happened to be $800,000. Yeah, so in one deal, you know, if even at the lowest commission level that we have, I think 5 or 5.5%, just do the math. That's life-changing type money. I mean, it's more than the average salary, at least in Georgia, in one deal. So that's one good thing about it. But more than just the money that we're paid, I mean, these are just phenomenal products for the client. And you know, I just want to say thank you to Sean Ruggiero for putting the system together with the annuities and making the commitment to teaching people how to sell them, because I knew about annuities before we started Family First Life, but selling them was a different story. But Sean has a great way to simplify the process and explain the product in a very simple way. How to overcome the competitor, you know, the stuff that you'll read out there, the negative things about annuities that almost never are true or basic or have some very minimal base of truth. Like for example, the fact that your money's tied up. You know, you'll tie your money up for 15 years, and that's one of the things you'll hear from financial advisors. And it's like, well, if you're putting it in the right place, what do you want to move it around? I mean, if it's safe and it can grow, why are we going to be moving it around anyway? And you can access the money depending on the product. Athene, you know, the one that we chose has a 5%. You can get 5% out a year. And honestly, if somebody needs more than that out of the account, these aren't the right products for them. And if they don't, then it's kind of a protection against themselves. So surrender charges should not be a negative thing. I mean, I don't view them at that. And I explain that with clients. That's one way to make sure that you can get the sale done if they're going to go talk with any sort of a financial advisor, and that's certainly going to be one of their one of the things that they say negative about it. So, you know, learning how to overcome those things, overcome those objections before they come up. It's all stuff I learned from Sean, and then doing some of my own research. But even if you're new, just know that we have some of these resources, guys like Sean, and the system in place at Family First Life that can help you. Just make sure that you let people know that we do retirement protection and those types of things, not just the mortgage protection and not just the life insurance. Now, as an agent, you make sure that you don't lose sight of that, because that's your cash flow. But like I said, you know, one of these deals can be very, very lucrative. In this case, it was a referral, and it was actually because I had established myself. I've been doing this for quite a while. That the client was in Georgia, and the referral came from Missouri. They needed a licensed agent in Georgia, and I was the one that they knew. So they called me to go help her out. She knew a little bit about the money was coming from an annuity, so she knew about annuities. And really the issue, it was in a trust. So one thing I learned in this process was that you can absolutely move money into an annuity in a trust. I'm not sure that every single trust allows it, but I know in this case it was just as easy as moving it from anything else. So it's I think, you know, in most cases we can help people move their money. Don't be at least ask. If you find money, no matter where it is, let's look into it and see if we can move it, and know that you got those resources to help you if needed. So it was in a trust, and then her job as the trustee was to make sure that this would grow, absolutely not lose any money. That was crucial because she had it somewhere in the past where it lost money, and her siblings were not happy with that. So, and to get some decent growth. She wasn't looking to make a fortune, but it was just a perfect solution for a fixed index annuity. And the Performance Elite in particular, because of the growth potential, the indexing strategies that it provides. It has a 9% bonus that we were able to lock in before the deadline that they reduced it, I think, to set. But the bonus wasn't the selling point. It was no fees, no fees, potential of growth, and then there's still that 5% that if needed, she can take out up to 5% a year with no surrender charges. So there is some liquidity in there as well. It's a great product, and that was why we went with that one. Anyway, I just encourage you to understand the value of these, making sure that people understand that you do more than just selling life insurance, and that we can help people protect their retirement, and we need to. There's a lot of people that need our help. They're getting advice from places that are not appropriate for where they're at in their lives, and I think that's important as well. So I hope that helps. Thanks again, Sean, for everything that you do for us, and I hope you all have a great night. Take care.